Hello, welcome to Board Deck and Dice's review recap. This mask is hurting my nose. It was me all along, Clark Kent. Today we're recapping my reviews number Wobbly-table. Right, I'm going to try not to breathe. Today we are recapping reviews number 21 to 30, and as always I use the Board Game Geek score calibration, and I'll do them in reverse order from lowest score to highest to leave you all on tenterhooks, of course. Okay, the first review, or the lowest scoring review of the last 10, was Mars Attacks 10-Minute Takedown. This scored a 6. I enjoy playing this with my son. It is a little one-dimensional. It's fun, you're flicking a dice, you're trying to hit targets. If you get the random chance of the dice rolling to the correct colour of the planet you're aiming for, or the target you're aiming for, you get extra points. It's very thinly themed, but there's a clever little thing with the UFOs where you put them over the dice. Fine game, lot fun. Like I say, 10 minutes, if that. Great for dexterity with kids. Mars Attacks 10-Minute Takedown. I'm not picking, that's an itch. Alright. Got it. Next one, Magic Labyrinth, another family-friendly game. This got a 6.5. A really good family game using 2-leveled board. One at the bottom level is hidden, and you put wooden walls in, which creates a maze. You then cover the maze up, and your player pieces are magnetic and have a ball bearing underneath, and you're trying to get through the maze with orthogonal movement, and if you go over a wall, the ball bearing falls off and returns back. So there's memory in there, there's taking a risk, push your luck. It is roll to move, but in this case it works well, always goes down well with children, but there's a challenge there for adults as well, and you can make the maze hard by using more walls, or you can make it easier by using less. So that's Magic Labyrinth, great family game, 6.5. Next we have Star Wars Risk, 6.8, fun game. You have 3 battles going on at once. It's 2-player, 1 player is the Rebels, 1 player is the Empire, and you're playing the 3 battles from the, is it Return of the Jedi? I think it is. You're playing the space battle in the middle. The board looks like a TIE fighter, and you've got the shield generator battle on one side and Luke versus Darth Vader on the other side. And by using cards with 2 to 3 options on, you're playing orders. The Rebels always go first. There is luck in there, there's dice rolling, particularly the dice roll to destroy the Death Star. You just need to roll a 6. So the Rebels can, and often do, get a victory despite the odds. But I guess that's thematic, so I give it a pass. The thing that disappointed me, this was the black box edition I got, didn't really feel like a deluxe version, and had I paid full price I'd have certainly been disappointed. Full price in the UK was £50, and that's only £10 off what I could get Rebellion for. So I was glad to pick it up half price, but just beware, the black edition is a Hasbro deluxe edition, so it's not your Cool Mini or Not, for example. Star Wars Risk 6.8. Push It, another dexterity game. There's a few dexterity games this review recap. Literally, it's kind of like bowls with discs on a table, but the discs are made, the wooden discs are made really well. You're flicking them towards a puck. You get 2 each, 2 to 4 players, and the person who gets nearest after everyone's flicked scores a point, and then you reset and go again. There's team rules. It's very simple. It comes in a little bag. I chucked all the cardboard away. I can throw it in my pocket, take it wherever I'm going. It works great on loads of surfaces. Push It, portable bowls, scored a 7. There's 2 other games on a 7, but I have ordered them in my preference of play, even though they've all scored the same number. Bizarre. The next is another dexterity game called Cube Quest. This one is a 2-player game where you place like 3 mouse mats with castles on either end and a wall in the middle. You have 25 dice each, and they all have different pictures on. There's some goblins, some soldiers. They all have different powers. You can play that way if you want. Or what me and my son do, we just wang all the cubes on, and just play. And what you're trying to do is one of the cubes is a king, you put that in your castle and you build a structure using the other cubes, and then you're flicking cubes at the other person, turn-based, to try and knock their king off. So this game can last 2 seconds, which I have literally beat my son. One of the only times I beat him was a one flicker. Get in! Beat a 6-year-old. It's okay, they're not sweaty. And I think this is probably my son's favourite game. This is the one he'll ask for all the time, possibly because he beats me all the time. But another kind of dice flicking game, works really well. You've got lots of creativity in setting up your castle, and sometimes that takes longer than actual playing, but it kind of works and you just throw them all back on and go again. Cube Quest with a 7. Also with a 7 is 6 Nimmt. I still have no idea if I'm saying that right. Which is a card game where there's numbers 1 to 104 in cards, and you place them at 4 out in the middle, and on your go you have 10 cards. You have to choose one, but it must be bigger than one of the numbers out there, and you will play it next to the nearest number to it. So if there's a 14 out there and you've got a 16, you'd play it next to the 14 unless there was also a 15 out there. If you're the person who plays the 6 card in line, or you play one that's lower, you have to take cards into your hand, into your front of you, and you count how many bull heads are on them, and the person with the most bull heads loses. It is a surprisingly tactical, say that lightly, but when you first play it and hear the rules, you think this is going to be just a bit random. Just a bit random. There's not really going to be any decisions to make. But when you've got those 10 cards and you look at the 4 that are out, and you have to decide, do I play a low card to take a hit and get some bull heads, but not as many as I think I'll get if I play this card, or do I really push my luck and hope that no one else is going to play a card that ruins my plans? And it just works really well. People take one round to get it, and they often want to play it again and again. So it's a good filler game with some depth to it. 6 Nimmt, scores 7. Next is a abstract game, the Dice Tower Essentials Onitama, and I give that 7.3. Lovely presentation, lovely box, kind of whiskey box style. Opens out with a clasp, and there's a mouse mat material playing surface, 4 of each colour, 2-player game, 4 of each colour in prawns. Yeah, it's a sea-based game, and the theme is, forget about it, pawns and 1 master each, and you either have to take the opposition's master or get to their spot with your master, their spot on the board, their coloured spot. The clever thing about it is there are a number of cards in the game, but you only use 5 each go, and these 5 dictate what movements are available. Each player has 2, there's 1 in the middle. When one player plays one, they take the one in the middle and they put the one they've played back in the middle, so everyone knows all the possible moves right from the start, and it becomes this tight game of trying to do your thing whilst trying to work out what the other person's doing and stop it. It works really well. Onitama, great 2-player abstract game, 7.3. Now we're on to the top 3. We have Treasure Hunter, which is an 8 for me. Great drafting game. It says 2 to 6 players. I wouldn't play it with 2. There are special rules, but I wouldn't play a drafting game with 2, apart from Time to Time, which is excellent. However, 4 players, great game. 4 to 6. 6 is pretty chaotic, but 4 is a good number to play this game. You're drafting colours that match colours on the board to win either high or low. It has this theme of Treasure Hunter on, so you have ice, fire and jungle, and you have colours matching those cards, blue, green and red. And sometimes you want to have the highest amount of numerical value in a colour, and other times you want to have the lowest, depending on what treasures are out there. You also have to get hold of some dogs to protect your camp from being robbed by goblins. Just all comes together well, easy to teach, one of the best instruction manuals I've seen in terms of clarity. I don't like the size or the fold of it, it's a bit but great in clarity, very clear, lots of use of pictures. Easy to teach, easy to play, but enough there for people to get their hands on, and somehow it feels more than the sum of its parts, so it doesn't feel like a basic drafting game. Treasure Hunter, that's an 8. Another 2-player game for number 2, the second best game of the last 10, and that's Raptor with 8.2. I just like Raptor. Just asymmetric game. One of you's a scientist, one of you the raptors. You have similar goals. The raptor has to get 3 babies out of the forest, or eat all the scientists on the board. The scientists have to capture 3 babies or put Big Mama to sleep by slugging her with 5 sleep darts. And you always get to do something. You might, because the cards have a number and an action on for the most part, even if you wanted the action, you end up with the number, so you get a certain amount of action points. There's still stuff you can do. And it makes for a very tense game, and you start to see what someone's played, so you have an idea what's in their hand. You can kind of remember what's in their hand if you play well. And I just love this game. Find it hard to win Raptors, actually. Scientists usually win when I've played this, but a great 2-player game. I think there's lots of mileage there. Really enjoy Raptor, 8.2. And my game of the last 10 is a very recent game to me. No surprise for regular watchers, it's a deck building game, and that is Dale of Merchants, with my top score ever given to a game so far, 8.5. So it joins Zen and Profiteer, and I think I rated one other 8.5, but I can't quite recall that to memory at the moment. Dale of Merchants is a deck building game that seems like it shouldn't work. I got it out of the box and I was like, is that all the cards? I mean, this would fit in the Star Realms box, which is only tiny, 2 times over. But the cards are organised into 6 different animal types. And the animal types each have their own flavour and playstyle and mechanics. You only use a maximum of 5 of those types each game. Normally in a 2-player game you'll use 3. You use 1 more type than there is players. So if you play a 2-player game you use 3, 3-player game you use 4, 4-player game you use 5. And it just changes every time. There's ones that use a dice to make it random. There's ones that really take that, where you're stealing cards off the opponents all the time. There's ones that help you achieve your goal of putting out your market stall really, really quickly. And it's just a nice mix. There's something there for everyone. If you don't want to play Take That, just take those thieving northern thieving raccoons out and don't play with them. It's just a brilliant game. I actually got this as part of this Kickstarter for the sequel, and I'm really looking forward to the sequel coming and adding even more sets to these animals. So the variability and the replayability is going to be very high on this one. Also, a few key changes to the normal deck building formula, where you're taking cards that you purchase straight into your hands, and your hand it just feels a little bit different, and because you have to build a market with these cards that have useful powers on, you have to choose when to put this card into your market and whether and not have access to that power anymore. Absolutely fantastic. Snowdale designer have knocked out of the park. I cannot wait for Dale of Merchants 2. You may as well score that at least the same for me, because I know I'm going to love it. I will do a review on it just so you have no surprises. But that is that. So my review recap for 21 to 30. Hopefully tomorrow I'll be doing an exciting live stream event. I'm testing for that now, if everything's downloaded. So please join me for that, and if it goes ahead, which I hope it will, should do, no reason for it not to. And I'll see you next time on Board, Deck and Wobbly Table Dice. Should have used tripod.